BBC Radio Merseyside.
And while you're having a think about that, all of this week, let me update you, we're going to be talking about the impact of how the rising cost of living is going to affect people in the weeks and months ahead. We're going to be featuring this throughout on BBC Radio Merseyside all of this week. And one organisation which helps churches and community groups offer support and make a difference is Together Liverpool. They also have Feast of Fun grants to fund community-based food activities for families, children and young people this February half term. And with us to share more on the story is Kate Eaglestone, who is the Social Action Lead Officer for Together Liverpool. Good afternoon, Kate.
Hello, nice to be with you.
Thank you so much for being with us. Now, this afternoon, I just want you to go through, first of all, let's start with you telling us a little bit more about Together Liverpool. Who are you and what do you do?
So Together Liverpool's a charity that works right across the Liverpool diocese, which goes from Liverpool all the way up to Southport and around to Wigan and Warrington. So any of the places that are sort of encapsulated in that area. And our real hope is to link up and network the great acts that of kindness and generosity that churches play a big part in their communities all the time, but really seeing the big picture and how can we work together to see the kind acts, the generous acts, the acts of justice that churches are doing all the time, link up and bless communities as a whole.
Now, just getting over the festive period for Christmas, but I know that you're going to be offering Feast of Fun grants to help children and families over half term in February. You did it last year, Kate. Just tell us what it involves.
Yeah, well, actually, we did it twice last year. So we've got a big grant. We let churches apply for this grant last February, half term, and then we did it again in the summer. And it's really helping churches thinking creatively about how they can join up, thinking around community partners and local schools and faith groups and voluntary organisations, and think about how they can bless and use this money for families, children and young people, especially around food and friendship. And so we're offering these grants to people. We had some such exciting and creative uses of the money last year. So things like Transform Witness, they had 100 pancake packs that they sent out during the lockdown. And in the summer, Glory Worship Church in Liverpool taught inner city children how to make Ghanaian and Indian food. And the stories go on and on. There were just such creative uses of this money, from healthy breakfasts and packed lunches that St. Luke's in West Derby did, and Trinity Church in Page Moss used it as a holiday club with packed lunches. So really exciting. We're not trying to think about one specific way that churches can use this money, but really helping them thinking about what the way that they can best serve their local communities are.
And would I be correct, Kate, in saying there's a food-based link to these types of grants?
Yeah, there definitely is, which is one of the reasons it's presumably a good thing to advertise this week, especially with the cost of living rising as it is. We really want to be able to support local churches to think about how they can meet the unique needs at the moment around their communities, especially given food and friendship and social isolation. And so rather than families just struggling along on their own, how can people come together this February and to be able to use food and this grant to be able to bring people together?
And can I just clarify, Kate, then, these don't go directly to families. These go to organisations that can help families. And it could be anything from a baking session to providing kind of food hampers.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So we're really encouraging churches to apply for the money. It's somewhere between £150 for a day activity or £300 if they're doing sort of a longer, maybe even a week event. And then it will be the church's responsibility to think about how they can connect with the families and the children and the young people in their community. And really that can be as varied as I've mentioned.
And what about the wider community with other community-based organisations and groups? Would they be eligible for the grants as well, or does it have to be a church group?
Yeah, well, we're encouraging churches to be the ones that are applying, but we're really giving precedence. We're wanting to prefer, people who are joining up with other local community partners. And there's some good examples of how previous churches have done this. So a church, St. Stephen's in Hightown, joined up with local businesses and charities last summer. They put an afternoon tea on for their local communities, and they played games and had fruit kebabs and then did a curry in the evening. So if there are opportunities for you to partner with other people that are going on, and it may well be that a church doesn't feel that they've got all the resources, but actually with this grant and then with other community partners, they may well be able to run something that they ordinarily wouldn't have. And that's what we're hoping this money will do. Will just kickstart new ideas, new activities for people to be able to connect in with in their churches and communities.
And it's such a great and simple idea just to get the ball rolling for organisations to come together with the local church. Is there a criteria for applying?
Yes, so there's three main ways that or main characteristics that we're hoping that each of these activities will have. We want them to be church-led, but if they can involve other communities, partnerships like local schools and faith groups and organisations and charities, that would be great. We would really love for this to be based around families and children and young people in the community, and that we want it to have an element of healthy food as a key part of the activity.
And is there a closing date?
Yes, that's a really good point. So the closing date's next Monday. So people have got a week to get some ideas together and apply, and then we'll be releasing the money at the end of next week. So if anybody's got any questions, they're welcome to get in touch with us at Together Liverpool, and we'll be able to hopefully help with those questions and be able to point people in the right direction. But we're excited about giving this money out and seeing all the exciting things that are going to go on across the Liverpool diocese.
Because I know, Kate, you're a bit like the Alan Sugar of the Together Liverpool setup, because I know that you like to really oversee and be involved as well at the same time of the organisation that you're supporting with this great lifeline from Together Liverpool. We've heard that inflation is running at over 5%, and in April we'll see the rising of the energy price gap, meaning much higher charges for gas and electricity. I wanted to get your thoughts on that for maybe listeners right now that are anxious and maybe wouldn't think of looking at their local church or indeed Together Liverpool to help signpost.
Yeah, you make a really wonderful point. And actually, I know that this is a really difficult time and what is likely to be a difficult season for very many people. And the church has historically tried to really respond to the social needs around it. We've got a long history of being able to do that with the NHS and with schools and the provision we still make in many communities. And churches are very keen to respond to the needs within their local community. And so I would really impress upon people that if they are struggling at this time, to be able to look to the church. There's some amazing initiatives, things like food pantries, community meals, debt advice. The list really does go on. And as people are coming out of the pandemic and finding so many sort of uncertain times ahead of them, we're just encouraging people to find their local churches. It may well be that your church isn't doing things in the area that you particularly need help in, but they will be able to point you to other churches and other places that are. And that's really the project I'm working on, which is the network of kindness, and just trying to network all of these things that are going on, because one church might not be able to respond in all of the different ways that their community needs them, but actually together we are stronger, and really that's what the church is trying to do around the place.
And I think as well, just to get the heads up, because a lot of our listeners may already know the basics of a food bank, but the food pantry seems to have gone quite quickly over recent months and providing a popular way of supporting people. Just give us the lowdown, Kate, on what they actually do.
Yeah, food pantries are really exciting projects. Often they're within churches, but they're also within other community spaces. And they're really a local expression of ways that people can come and have friendship and be able to pay a small amount of money for a much larger amount of food. And so it's around about £3, £3.50 each week. You only pay when you come, and you pay the £3, but you then have access to sort of up to £20 worth of food. And the idea is that these food pantries are able to provide food on a bigger scale, which means that the prices are much more reduced, and they're just a real wonderful way for the community to be able to feed and resource locally. So do have a little look. There's some really good websites around the place, and I would really point you to Feeding Liverpool as a good place to begin to look for food pantries in your local area.
Wonderful. Now, before we say ta-ra, Kate, just wanted to get you to update then. If there's a church, a community organisation or charity out there that feels that they could do more and help with this February initiative, how do they get in touch with you?
Yes, so you can get in touch with us via our website, which is togetherliverpool.org.uk. And there's some ideas about how you can spend this money. So there's resource packs, there's recipes and ideas. You can also look at some of the exciting things that have already happened last February and then last summer. And you can apply for this grant anytime over the next week until 5 o'clock next Monday. So yeah, and do get in touch with us if you've got any questions about that grant.
And Kate, before I let you go, are you quite lucky? We're asking our listeners this afternoon, when's the last time they've won anything?
Oh, that's a really good question. Have I won anything? I can't remember off the top of my head, but I will give it some thought.
Yeah, maybe drop us a little text, Kate, because we'll ask the people that have, I don't know, had the last 50p and they won the raffle, or they entered a draw and they forgot about it.
Fingers crossed. I need to start looking for those lost lottery tickets.
Kate, did I tell you you're gorgeous? Only messing. Right, if you find the ticket, do get in touch. A pleasure to catch up. The information is there for you to get in touch with Together Liverpool. That was Kate Eaglestone, the Social Action Lead Officer for the organisation Together Liverpool. You have not got long. You've only got till next Monday if you want to find out more about doing your bit. If you're part of a church organisation or a charity or an organisation, you could be eligible for a grant. Come on, Daybreak Gang. If that is you, spread the word. Go and see your local church and say, have you heard about Together Liverpool giving away these grants? Do it right now.